Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first breakaway session of workshops of the Creative Arts Conference 2022. Everything has been so wonderful so far, and I'm so excited to share these next set of workshops with you. My name is Odile Burden, and I am the head of strings for the music department at Rustenburg Girls Junior. We are extremely privileged today to be hosting Thembile Tshuma for this workshop called The Teacher as Artist. Thembile is the Gauteng Theatre for Youth Provincial Coordinator. He's a percussionist, TV and stage actor, writer, puppeteer, dancer, choreographer, musician, theatre director, cultural leadership mentor, and arts administrator. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Thembile.
Thank you so much, Odile. I'm alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. I'm alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. I'm alive, alert, awake. I'm awake, alert, alive. I'm alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. Yeah, welcome. My name is Thembile, and like Odile says, I'm the Theatre for Youth Coordinator at ACTH South Africa here in And ACTH is just a networking organization for artists, educators, organizations, and institutions from around the country. And what we do is we really try by all means to do professional theater for young audiences, where we take theater companies to schools, and schools also get to watch professional theater works. So today I'm going to be presenting a teacher as artist. And I have questions that I really want to probe for today. Is the first one is, why do many of our teachers fear or dislike the arts? Is it because they don't have the knowledge of how to teach it, or they have not had a high quality arts experience and motivation? So that's one of the questions that really I would want to explore. And the second one is, how do we expose our teachers to arts practices which are not intimidating and enjoyable? So this is exactly what I'm going to be really exploring. And because most of the times I've been having questions about how do we make creative arts more fun, more enjoyable? And with the work that I do for one of ACTH's project called Kickstarter, where we engage with artists and teachers who work together and in a classroom setup, and be able to support each other in teaching the creative arts. So, they asked me, how then do we make it more fun? How, when the artists go out from the classroom and the teacher is left there? So most of our teachers don't have the experience, but it's all about how then do we cultivate that. So today I am just going to do one of the most engaging lessons. It's a musical lesson that we deal with in terms of how to introduce, in a fun way, to introduce, rhythm notation. And most teachers are like, we are afraid of music. Music is nice, and we always listen to music. Eh? So this is just a fun way of introducing music, especially to the intermediate phase, grade 4s, 5 and 6s, with the basics of rhythm notation. So what we do is, we first of all ask them, the first step is to ask them, different syllables. So we say, what is animals that that start with, that has got one syllable? So they will tell you cat, dog, rat, So in our processes, I present an animal which has got one syllable, which is my dog, right? So a dog has one syllable, and that one syllable, how then do you engage with it? One syllable, one beat. So one animal, the dog, is equivalent to one full beat. So when now they are clapping that full beat, they need to also say the animal name. For example, if I say, can you clap for dogs? So they'll go dog, 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 dog. It means it has got one full beat, right? Then the next step is you make them clap as many dogs as you want. Then the next animal that we introduce has got 2 syllables. And this animal that we normally use is a rabbit, the clever rabbit, right? But since we said the clever rabbit has got 2 syllables, but in musical notation, there is a note that has got 2 syllables, but it's cut into half, right? So it means that the rabbit is a full beat, but it has got 2 halves. And in a beat, you clap it twice. Unlike a dog, when you have a beat, 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 beat is a full beat and it encompasses the whole beat. But this one is much faster because it's the clever rabbit, right? So with the rabbit, instead of when we're going dog, 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 because the rabbit is much faster, it goes rabbit, 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 right? So it has got 2 halves. And we move on to another step which we do so that for the learners to understand how fast this beat is or where are the halves. Remember, if we are clapping for dogs, it means how many halves are we clapping? It means we are clapping 8 halves, right? So we have 8 claps in 4 dogs. We have 8 half claps of the rabbit, right? Then the next step will be a very, a very delicate animal that we normally use. We understand that, a cow has got 1 syllable, but for the use of this exercise, we say because the cow has got a huge body and, this cow's tummy can fit 2 dogs. So if you have a dog and another dog, it means this cow is equivalent to 2 full beats, right? So when we are clapping, first, if we say 4 dogs, we'll have 4 full beats, 4 full claps. If we're having 4 rabbits, we have 8 half beats, right? Then if we're having a cow, it means for every 2 dogs, you clap once on the beat, which is a cow. And because it has got a huge tummy, right? So it then comes to 2 beats, right? So when the kids have finally, learned all these claps, because this cow has got, normally we have a drum that we use to give ourselves beat, right? So when someone says, can I have 4 dogs? So on the beat, that's where the dog is. Dog, 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 right? Then if you are clapping the rabbits, the beat is still there, but remember, you're having 2 halves. Rabbit, 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 right? And when we have the cow on the 4 beats, it will go like cow, cow, right? Sweet. So that's how interesting the kids will be engaging with that, and make it as fun as possible, make them understand what is really going on and make them really have fun with these animals because they love these animals, and they then move on to create their own animal notation. So I have created my own animal notation. I hope you can see it, right? So this animal notation, you will give them so that they can be able to read the animals and also clap to the animals. Like you saw, if you can look at the first line, We have a rabbit, we have a dog, but we only have one cow, which means the cow has taken 2 bits. So we already have 1, 2, 3, 4 bits, right? The second one as well. As you can see, we have 4 animals because they have 1 full bit each. But apart from the rabbit which has 2 half bits, right? So I am not sure if you will be able to see, but I am going to clap with you this animal notes, right? So it will go rabbit, dog, cow, dog, dog, rabbit, dog. You get that? So that's how you will make the kids get to understand all these animal notations and be able to clap, right? Yes. So moving on, if they are able to clap all these animals, you then move on to give them the real note of these animals. So most teachers are afraid of such notes because they don't understand what these notes means, right? So if you start with the animal notation, which you have already said, it has got 1 full beat, right? And this is the real note value. This represents 1 full beat, and this is called a crochet. Then we have the rabbit. Like I said, the rabbit has got 2 halves. So only the ra and the bit, right? With these 2 halves, we have 1, the ra and the bit, right? So this is how then you would have been clapping these 2 notes. So it's the ra, bit. And most people then they say they normally meet up with this last one, right? It is because these 2 have been put together, right? And we come to the last one, which is the cow. And the cow has much similarities to the first note that we learned about, but because it has got a huge tummy, so its tummy is not shaded. This one has got a shaded tummy. That's how we would know that it is a crochet. And this one has got an unshaded tummy, which means it is a minim, right? And by the way, this single one is called a quaver, right? So if you hear these words, minim, crochet, quaver, don't be afraid. Really, don't be afraid. It's about you learning all these notations. So, like I have done, we started with the animals. When these animals get friendly, and when we have now learned all these animals, and now taking these animals, putting them to the real note values. So with this animal notation that we have created, this is how it would look. So you would know that you have a rabbit, dog, cow. Remember, the cow has got 2 bits, right? So it's rabbit, dog, cow, right? And this one is dog, dog, rabbit, dog. It is the same notation that you would have done on the top, but you'd have now replaced it with the real note values. So yeah, that's exactly what we normally do with our creative arts teachers to make this experience fun in the classroom, but whenever you are doing the animal notation, take your time, have fun, and let the kids, really grasp this clapping the animals and saying out the animals. But normally They go and start with the real note values at grade 5. And please, 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 do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to, engage with them and make sure that they really grasp everything that they are doing. And to continue with that, with these different processes that we have during the Kickstart program, it's all about how then do we make this much fun. The fun comes when we are doing these trainings with the teachers. The teachers come and have a long training, and we make them experience. We make them do this. We make them clap the animal notations. We make them, engage with all the processes that we have, so that they can be able to see and understand. When we are doing dance, we know that they will tell you, I can't move. Kids dance better than myself, and we have the funny thing is when teachers come for training, they have sit back and just don't engage, because they think that it's about them, it's about them giving information to learners. Hence the question, teacher as an artist, what does that mean? It then means that if you are a teacher, don't be afraid to break boundaries, because if you sit back and relax, it means your kids also will sit back and relax. That's why most of the times they think that creative arts is a period where kids just go and jump. I heard one person at, hey, yani creative arts meaning just go to the creative arts class and just go and jump around. But like our keynote speakers were saying, creative arts is it's something that we encompass everything. We encompass all the senses that we have as human beings. And when these teachers are engaged in these processes that we have with them, in the first few days they're like, we can't do this. But to be honest, they enjoy it as days go by and have fun and embody everything. You see teachers rolling on the floor, and being so playful. And at the end of the whole program, they will come to us and say, we thought that, creative arts was a hard thing, but we thought we would really want to focus on things, but in these processes, we simply let them be, let them play, let them be kids again, so that when they go back into the classrooms, it's not about can you do a spansula dance and know everything, but how then do you go back to the basics and learning the dance techniques, the units of actions, the day-to-day movements, rather than going straight to ispansula. We say, what do we have in our day-to-day lives? We bend, we jump, we stretch, we twist, we roll, So it's basically those initial steps. And do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to actually jump into all these classroom activities, and say kids can draw better than me. It's not about that. It's about how do you do it. The most important thing that we do is we do it step by step. Like I've just done, this is a lesson that can be done in about 2 to 3 terms. And I just broken it down to you in about 10 minutes, right? But to be honest, the step by step process is the most important one, because when you know that you're starting with the dogs and they can be able to actually clap the dogs and understand the concept of one full beat. What is a full beat? A beat that is full, So why are you saying it's a full beat? Because it is only one clap on one beat on the timeline, right? So it's that step by step initiative of really saying, can I understand this from a concept of starting from just playing with the animals. And the kids would love that, and not understanding that it's a process of them really saying, from there, we now know the animals and we've had fun with these animals. But when now we're going to the real note values, your crotchets, your quavers, and your minims, they can be able to go back and understand fully how then to incorporate that and go like, oh, so a quaver, it's a half beat, but if there are two quavers, it's a rabbit, right? But they would know the different claps in it. And so after about, I think we are in the sixth year, if I'm not mistaken, with the Kickstarter program. We've had so many teachers coming. We've trained so many teachers, and this year we are in 4 provinces, which is KZN, Free State, Gauteng, and Northern Cape. And we've had so many teachers after our trainings who have really engaged with their learners. We asked them why, what has changed from that? It is because they now started to understand that it's not about being a teacher and standing on the chalkboard and you giving the kids the knowledge. You have the knowledge, but you as a teacher, you come in and give the kids a safe space and hold the kids so that they can be able to go through this process with you, rather than you telling them the information, but it's about them embodying everything. It's about them touching and feeling. It's about them getting a chance to roll and not being told that you can't roll in a classroom, you can't lie down and cool down, you can't play games in a classroom. Is one important thing that people should be aware of, that if you let the kids play in a creative arts classroom, that's one way of learning as well. So yeah, with that being said, I would really love to say we have had so many teachers. I think we have about 4 teachers who have been promoted from being just creative arts teachers to HODs in creative arts. And it is because they let themselves not just be teachers, but also being artists, also being kids as well, and just being playful in the classroom. So that's basically what we do as Acetage South Africa and the Kickstarter team. And I am not quite sure if I have time. Let me see. Okay, I might have about 6 minutes of questions. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. Then Odile will definitely be looking on the Q&A.
Yes, wow, Thembile, that was just absolutely inspirational. Thank you so much. I think what really struck me was the sort of the accessibility and the universal nature of your method. For students, but also for teachers. And I think that's just really incredible. It's something that can be applied in so many different contexts for in subject matter that, like you said in the beginning, can be very scary for someone who doesn't have musical training. This just really brings it right down to earth and right into your fingertips. So thank you for this. This is really wonderful. We've got a couple of questions. So
Okay.
Mzwandile says, this is so interesting and fun to teach. However, this could be a challenge for the grade 9s who have never been introduced to music education fully. What do you suggest one should do in that regard?
Basically, that's what we would love the teachers to do, because they, with learners who have not had the background of music, it's the first basic thing to understand. For them to understand rhythm notation before they even go to your tonic solfas, so it's a concept that you can use. We teach it to intermediate phase teachers, but I believe I've gone to high school and taught high school teachers, and they love it because it takes them back to basics. which is the most important thing. And this is the most basic thing that, someone who have never had any musical experience can be able to engage with. You can use it. You can use it even in grade 9, going back to rhythm notation before we even go to your tonic solfas.
Yeah, and I think what really is just so incredible is and important is the going from the known to the unknown, going from something that is just so normal and so ordinary, into and creating that understanding of beat structure and rhythm and pulse, and
Yes.
then opening up the space to then feel free and safe enough to introduce the actual musical notation. That's really incredible. We've also had quite a few comments about the fact that this is really just bringing everything back down to the basics of play and how important play is. Can you maybe talk a
Yes.
little bit about that?
Really, the importance of play it's about, kids will always be kids, right? And we tend to have classrooms, when we're going to a math classroom and we think um, it's mathematics, we need to do numbers, but I can come with a rhythm game or rhythm, something that is so playful in talking about numbers, in talking about multiplications. So if classrooms were changed to be playful and for the kids to embody rather than to cram things, that are written by someone, but how do they transfer that into their own bodies and into their own understandings? And because we have learners who with different learning abilities, right? Some learn through touching, some learn through, seeing, some learn through the physical body. How can we make our classrooms and change them into places that's safe, playful, but playful learning, right? And enjoyable learning. It's not about just, play, but how do you channel the playing to be something that's so educational for the kids to have fun with, but as well understand.
Absolutely, Thembile. And someone else commented here also is that the integration of the maths and the language component into the teaching of musical concepts is just so cleverly done here. So I applaud you.
Yeah, so thank you so much. And at Acetage, we're also trying to create what we call arts as method. Where we actually teach different subjects using arts methodologies. For instance, using dance to teach physics and chemistry. And how these atoms, come to life, and how do we as bodies come to life, and look at the periodic table and think about your calciums, how do we use dance to learn about these different atoms and these different states of matter, and rigid, it's solid, and liquid. How does your body move if it's liquid? And if it's now, vapor, how then is your body light or heavy? Or, understanding these different states using your own body. So I think if our classrooms are created in that way, kids can be able to learn having fun as well.
Wow, wonderful. Thembile, we have come to the end of our session. Thank you so much for doing so much to inspire the teachers watching the session today, but also for the incredible work that you do with children and with training teachers. Your work is so powerful, and I wish you all the best in your work as you continue. Just a little bit of housekeeping before I say goodbye to everybody. We are now heading into a 10-minute break. After which we have two wonderful speakers. We've got Tina from Finland, and thereafter we've got, I think it's Kurt Minard. So in this 10 minutes, go grab a cup of coffee. You can also go head over to the exhibitor booths. I know that Kickstarter is one of the exhibitors that you can go and check out. So please do go on that side. There are also challenges. You can go and interact with Molly Metronome home and help her start to feel a little bit better. So thank you so much to you, Thembile, for sharing with us today. And thank you for everybody who's attended this session. We'll see you in 10 minutes' time.